to them as we go through the presentation. Up there they are. I see them. Very nice. Okay, so I'll start with this quadrant here. I guess Alicia's in the top quadrant with at least my floor panel here. So Alicia, maybe introduce yourself, background. How long have you been here?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. My name is Alicia Miller. I'm the senior service hydrologist here at the office. I'm actually here at the office, see? And I've been in Pittsburgh for 10 years.
Okay, Jenna.
My name is Jenna. I'm a meteorologist here at the Weather Service. I've been here for about a year and 2 months. So I'm relatively new to the Weather Service, and yeah, that's me.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and Shannon, she's giving a virtual school talk. She'll join us hopefully in a little bit here, and that way you can kind of put some faces with names as you see, as you call the office, or if you see email correspondence from us, you can kind of put names and faces here. So I thought that would be kind of a good way to do that. So we'll go ahead and get started. And so again, this is kind of give you an overview, kind of what we do in the wintertime, and some programs to be a part of, how we trigger things, and some new services that we have within our agency. So to kind of go to start it all off, we'll kind of review kind of what about our office, and to see there's a nice little picture we took from one of a drone here of a nice sunrise or sunset from our office there in Moon Township, Pennsylvania. But again, we cover three states, I should say. We just lost Garrett County, Maryland last week. And so now we're down to 35 counties in 3 states. And so some of you may have, your business, your organization may span, outside our region. So again, the more common ones are Somerset, Cambria, or In-State College, Erie, Crawford, or part of Cleveland. And then, but if you are outside our region and you want to get connected with those offices, again, feel free to reach out to me. We'll get you to the proper point of contact, and that way you can correspond with them. And so again, our main mission, again, protection of life and property. We want to make sure that you all are informed of big weather events. I know we're in the middle of a COVID crisis, but the weather's still marching on. So again, we're here to help serve you all the best we can. So just kind of give you an idea of the average snowfall. So, this is interesting today. It's a very timely webinar because it was snowing outside just a couple minutes ago outside my window, and we're doing a winter webinar. So this is very cool. This kind of gives you an idea kind of snowfall climatology across our region, and generally around 40 inches across southwestern PA, 30 inches in northern West Virginia, southeastern Ohio. And then as you go in the mountains to the east of Pittsburgh and also to the north, substantial more towards the lakes, anywhere between 60 to 80 inches north of Pittsburgh to potentially over 120 inches across the mountains of northern West Virginia and southwestern Pennsylvania. So to break it down, so Pittsburgh's our main climate site across our region. We have some volunteer programs I'm going to talk about at the end, how to get more snowfall reports. But again, our average is about 42 inches. We use a 30-year moving average from 1981 to 2010. And then after this year, we're going to develop new normals that will span 1991 through 2010 or 2020. And this also gives you a breakdown in terms of historically during that 30-year period, what's the average snowfall that we see per month. So again, we didn't really have much snow in October. We're not going to have much snow in November. And so we're going to kind of start out on a slow start. But as the winter goes on, the values ramp up. Historically, our biggest snows happened in February and March, although our historical snow of record actually occurred in November. But if you lump all the big storms, the top 10 of them, most of them occur in February and March. January sees our most snowfall. That's kind of usually a inch here, inch there. But again, we can see snow in April, and you can even see snow in May as well. So, but again, February and March are our big seasons, snowfalls that happen, big snowstorms. So if you break it down based on the number of days, usually about 13 days a year, we see more than an inch of snow in Pittsburgh. The plowable snow they call is 2 inches. We see that about 6 times per year. And then as we go up, again, if you like, you're sled riding, you're skiing, you're snowmobiling weather, 6 inches about once a year and a foot every 5 years. Now, we haven't seen more than a foot of snow for I think it's about 9 years now. So we are due to see a significant snow across our region. So here's the suite of products we have at the National Weather Service. The Winter Storm Watch, that's the one that kind of gets the most traction out there with the public in terms of it's issued 2 to 3 days in advance. This one we have a 50% confidence of seeing 6 inches of snow or more in a 12-hour period. And we always kind of call that the bread, milk, and toilet paper watch, because that's when people kind of, the TV stations set up their shops in front of the grocery aisle. But of course, with this pandemic here, they're going there, outside winter storms to grab toilet paper and other essential items. But again, this is the heads up where you kind of get your plan in place, your playbooks in terms of, okay, what are we going to do? We try to issue these as much as possible when our confidence is there, not to sound the alarm too much. Then as our confidence increases, 1 to 2 days out, we can upgrade that to a winter storm warning. That's usually 80% confidence of seeing 6 inches of snow in 12 hours or greater. Again, that's when, watches mean watch out, warnings mean take action. That's when plans need to be in place, and people are urged to stay home and not travel unless they have to. And then winter weather advisories are more of the impact-based headline, where it's kind of like it's not going to really impede you from going where you need to go or doing what you need to do, but it's going to take you longer to get there. So it's going to take you longer to get to work. Of course, we're in a virtual world, so that's less cars out there. It's going to be an inconvenience for traveling. And so again, it's winter weather advisories. We usually issue these for snowfall amounts that are greater than 3 inches, and then up to 6 inches as well. So, and we can also issue them based on lower thresholds. So, for example, if a heavy snow, like a 2 inch event, is going to happen right at rush hour, that's a situation where you can issue an impact-based winter weather advisory. Maybe the first snow of the year is going to be a 2 inch event. We could potentially issue a winter weather advisory for that as well. Wind chill products, again, kind of the same thing left to right. Watch means, again, 50% chance of it occurring. Usually issue these 2 to 3 days in advance for temperatures that are 25 degrees or colder. Wind chill warning, confidence ramps up. There's a strong signal there. We'll upgrade that usually 1 to 2 days in advance. And then a wind chill advisory, again, is temperatures minus 10 to minus 24, anywhere between 1 to 2 days in advance, or when we issue these. So I'm going to turn it over to Shannon, if Shannon was able to jump on here after her school talk to talk about this Winter Storm Severity Index. Shannon, make it on. I know she's doing a school talk this morning. Okay. Do you want to take this, Shannon, or do you want me to do this?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so Winter Storm Severity Index is something that we'll explain a little bit more here in a couple of seconds. But basically, there are a few components that go into this new product that we will be sharing with you this season, and we'll show you how to access it as well. So snow load is one of them, and that's when you have potential infrastructure impacts, so down trees or power lines due to the weight of snow. I know this last week we had a lot of infrastructure impacts on Sunday from wind. This time it would be snow. I'm sure you guys know a little bit about that. It also accounts for land cover type, so the more forested and urban areas will show increased severity versus the same snow conditions over grasslands. Snow amount is, of course, a big impact. So this index also normalizes for climatology. So regions of the country that experience on average less snowfall will show a higher level of severity for the same amount of snow that is forecasted across a region that experiences more snowfall on average. So for example, in Pittsburgh or south of Pittsburgh, for example, in like Washington County, if we were to get 6 inches of snow here in a more urban area, that would create more impacts, whereas if rural northern Minnesota were to get 6 inches of snow, who are more used to that kind of snowfall. Ice accumulation, of course, has a lot of potential infrastructure impacts, so that's weighted pretty heavily in terms of winter storm severity components. Urban areas are weighted a little bit more than non-urban areas as well, because you'd be impacting more people. Blowing snow index, potential disruption due to blowing and drifting snow, so especially if there's a lot of traffic traffic potentially that can be impacted there. And then flash freeze is a big one. So if we're expecting temps to plummet or winds to really pick up and then drop the road temperature, that would be weighted a little bit more heavily as well. Fred, you can go to the next slide. So this is kind of what it looks like. This is January 12th of 2019. If you guys remember that event, it's when we had a little bit of accumulation in Pittsburgh and a lot of accumulation north of Pittsburgh, I believe. So basically on the left image, you can see that it's got a couple different colors on the graphic. White is no impact, gray is limited impact, yellow is minor, orange is moderate. And so the places that have moderate impacts there, like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri as well, saw more of that freezing rain LSR, so those black dots. So this is just storm reports that are plotted on top of the winter storm severity index. And then you can see that a lot of snow was plotted kind of outside the moderate impact level there. So basically what this is telling you is that the more weighted impacts like freezing rain are going to be in this moderate kind of scenario, because freezing rain, like a 1/4 inch of freezing rain or a 1/2 inch of freezing rain, which is all ice, is going to impact motorists and generally an urban population a little bit more than about, a 1/2 inch of snow, depending on the situation. That's just a generalization. So on the right here is kind of what you would see before an event. So you would see that minor impacts is, across the entire region there. That's basically telling you that it's rarely a direct threat to life and property, but it typically results in an inconvenience to daily life. So this may be parallel to something like a winter weather advisory, but what you'll also notice on this map is that Pittsburgh itself and kind of more urban areas in Allegheny County is labeled as moderate impacts, and that's because there's a lot more population there, so it's going to impact that area a little bit more. So where you can find this and how you can access it for yourself, it'll be on our website, weather.gov/Pittsburgh/winter. And then you can select the other snow/ice information that's highlighted there in green. And then you can select winter storm severity index graphic. And so that's going to, again, show you those colors that are related to impacts rather than something that's general, like the total amount of snow that we're going to see, because it can really mean a lot of different things depending on where you live. So that's why this product is new this year. And you guys will get a little bit more traction with it from us this year, and we'll be able to answer a lot of questions that you have as well later in the presentation. Okay, so this is back to my territory. Snow squalls. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot of information on snow squall warnings, because that's a new wireless emergency alert that's come out in the last couple of years. So we just wanted to break down a little bit more what they mean, how they impact people. So per definition, a snow squall is an intense, short-lived burst of heavy snowfall that leads to a quick reduction in visibilities and is often accompanied by gusty winds and also accompanied by drop in temperature, so that flash freeze component. They may be characterized by one main squall or multiple squalls. On the right, you'll see this is from December 19th of 2019, last year, when we had our big snow squall warning that we issued. This created a lot of impacts, especially in Allegheny County. So that's kind of what it looks like on radar, if you're familiar with radar. Why are they dangerous? They often drop the visibility less than 1/4 of a mile, even though they're dropping less than an inch of snow. So it kind of seems like it comes out of nowhere, because it'll be, can be bright and sunny in some cases. You're driving on the road and you see even blue sky, but then all of a sudden it's a wall of snow that happens. That's that really limited visibility. You'll see that maybe only a 1/2 inch or less even of snow accumulates on the ground, but behind that snow squall comes really gusty conditions, which will automatically drop that road temperature below freezing in some cases, and then you'll see that drop in temperature itself, the ambient air temperature, and that'll create black ice on the roadways, which is really dangerous, of course, especially during rush hour and during the day when a lot of people are out and about. So that is why we are issuing those snow squall warnings now. You can treat them kind of like severe thunderstorm warnings, in the fact that they're brief, they're small, and they last, for 30-ish minutes. There'll be a small band of snow, and then you'll kind of move on to the rest of your life. So snow squalls. How will you know when a snow squall is coming? That's when we issue the snow squall warning. So this is an example from the National Weather Service in Twin Cities. They issued a snow squall warning, I think it was just last week, and they actually saw a 29-car pileup on I-94 just northwest of the Twin Cities in Minnesota. So that's something to keep in mind too. That's why we take these so seriously, is because a lot of pileups can happen from this flash freeze after a snow squall, and we see that a lot, in I-80 in those dangerous known areas. So 1 to 2 days before a snow squall will be possible, we kind of see that patterns start to come into play where we have a cold front that's coming through, where our wind is directed in a way where it could be possible. So 1 to 2 days before, we'll issue briefings saying that banded snow is possible and that it could reduce visibilities. We'll talk about it in the hazardous weather outlook as well. And then the day of is when you'll see that wireless emergency alert for snow squalls. The National Weather Service chat dialogue will contain helpful short-term updates. So we'll talk about the potential for it in the morning, or the night before we'll talk about that potential as well. And then you'll see it that we talk about the potential for it on social media as well. So while the snow squall may not necessarily be on the radar yet, we will know that we are capable of getting them a day or two in advance, and then we can kind of keep you updated on how that situation will unfold.
Okay, thanks, Jenna. We'll switch gears over. Oh, nope, not yet. One more.
Still me. Okay, so another new product that we are bringing out this year, this is the Weather Store. You may have seen this in other parts of the country at other National Weather Service forecast office, but it's new to this office. Now on our website in the red circle there, you can see that there's a new kind of icon graphic that you can take a look at every day. And basically what this is it's going to be the big weather story of the day. So what are we most concerned about for today? What do you need to know for today as you head out the door? That's going to be what's in the weather story. So if we have a winter storm warning, we'll definitely have that up there. If we have severe thunderstorm watch or something like that, we update it. It's pretty quick that it gets updated, so it may change throughout the day, but something to check on every morning.
Okay, thank you, Jenna. Now we're going to switch gears to water and turn over to Alicia.
Yeah, we don't just have snow and freezing rain. We also have rain events that cause flooding in the winter time, or if it gets really cold, which maybe we'll see it get cold this winter with the La Nina, ice jams. So we are having an ice jam training. This is actually hosted by the Pennsylvania Silver Jackets. There's 2 training sessions. One is December 11th and the other is December 15th. And these training sessions are geared towards emergency managers and emergency personnel to kind of just go over a general overview of what an ice jam is, how ice jams form, the development of ice in the early stages once it's locked in, and then what happens as we start to see the ice melt, or if we have a rain event and that breaks up the ice real quick. We're going to go over some mitigation techniques that are available by the state, and this is heavily geared towards Pennsylvania. Ohio, we are trying to do something similar with Ohio as well, but if you are interested, we'll make sure we send this flyer out. I do believe I sent it out once, but we'll make sure we send it out again leading up to these training events, but I wanted to throw that out there. It's not really geared toward reporting. It kind of goes over how you can report ice jams to an office, and we do need ice spotters, but this is more on the technical side. Next slide. And then something that I'm not sure how many people are aware of, but Water Alert is a service that the USGS offers, and you can pick a gauge in your area of interest, select it on their map, and then you can put in user-defined criteria. So if you're concerned about Gray's Landing at 15, you can put Gray's Landing in at 15, and it'll alert you via text message when it hits that threshold. It doesn't have to be at our thresholds for action, minor, moderate, or major. It could be at whatever threshold you feel is important to you. So I wanted to throw that out there.
Okay, thanks, Alicia. So some of the things that also we're working on. So our region is had a group of test offices that kind of vetted these new briefing templates. They want a standard procedure across the region. And they kind of work with emergency managers, from South Carolina to New England, got feedback from them and social scientists. So these will be coming your way in an inbox near you probably in December at some point. There's a test office, so if you're in the State College area or if you received hydro briefings from the Ohio River Forecast Center, you're already seeing them. But these are some of the layouts. Could be portrait, could be landscape, and there'll be graphics on there as well. So just kind of give you an idea that'll be changing for us here over the next couple of weeks. And then, again, we can still help you in the COVID world just because, a lot of us aren't in the office or we're kind of working virtually. We can still help you. Alicia and I were just on a tabletop yesterday with West Virginia Region 2 on a river flood event. But again, if you're doing exercises, again, we can help you out, virtual EOCs. Again, we've been part of those. So keep us in mind because, during the pandemic, weather keeps going. So we're more than happy to help serve you all any way we can. We're tied pretty closely with the fusion centers of PA and West Virginia. But again, feel free to reach out to us anytime for any weather support that you all need. And then some of the programs that we're looking to, maybe you can help us promote to people is this program called CocoRoz. Our agency is not allowed to have apps. So we kind of partner with colleges to help facilitate that. So this program here, it's a long acronym, but it stands for Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow. There's the link. And again, you'll have this presentation after we're all said and done. But again, I would encourage you all to spread the information to your counties on your social media channels, because again, if you have like a snow stick, it's, a ruler, it's all you need. And all it takes is, it's not one of these daily requirements. It's when it snows, hey, send us a report. We try to, before big events, we try to help, send an email to all of our CocoRoz folks just to remind them, hey, if you could report tomorrow, that'd be really helpful. And then also, this is accepted by FEMA. So if there's a potential winter storm that could be within 10% of your 1, 2, or 3 day total, then this is accepted into FEMA in terms of reports to get you potentially credited for a disaster declaration. So again, the app is on the right-hand side, available from iTunes and Google Play. Once you go to the webpage, you sign up. You get a username and password usually within a day, and then you can save it on your app, and then you just kind of pick your observation date, your time, and your snow, and hit submit. So very, very straightforward process to report snowfall to us. AmPing is another app that we partner with the University of Oklahoma. Again, this is great for those mixed precipitation events. We have technology that kind of helps us out a little bit with mixed precipitation at the office. But again, the ground truth is always important, like we tell our Skywarn spotters in the spring. And so essentially what this does is you allow it to have location access on your phone. And then what happens is wherever you are, if you see sleet falling or if you see freezing rain, you hit report type, which is up top here. You pick your report type, and then you hit submit. One of the cool things about this, to kind of tie in with what Jenna talked about with snow squalls, is that if you go under the reduced visibility option on this menu here, you can report a snow squall. So that really helps us out too as well to see what's going on. So again, another free app that's available to kind of help serve us. So again, we'll send graphics out as a follow-up to this email, but I really encourage you all to promote that on your social media channels and your email list. So one of the things that we're kind of working on here is we're trying to move our contact list to a new database, and we've sent a couple emails about this right now. But what it is this link will be in the summary email, but it's a survey, and it really just kind of gets background information: your name, your location, your job title, your county. It only takes a couple minutes. So again, we've gotten out of like 600 potential applicants, we've gotten 200 already. So we're trying to get that number up as high as we can, because probably in the summertime, we're going to move over to this as our main contact list. So we will make sure that nobody gets lost in the process. So again, this link will be in the email at the end. So again, encourage you to fill it out. And then if you're a county director, you want to forward this to emergency coordinators, your public works, again, please, we really encourage that, because the more people that we can tie into our message, the more the message gets out, and people can take action when we have big weather events that are coming. As far as the winter outlook goes, again, that's always a big thing. If you haven't seen it already at one of our talks, again, we're in a La Nina year. It's going to carry through 2021. So this is kind of, if you average kind of the jet stream over the 3 months, there'll be deviations, but on average, this is kind of what it looks like in the La Nina year. Cold across the northern United States, wet in the Pacific Northwest. And if you come, to the south, dry conditions across the desert Southwest over towards the Carolinas, and then also warm conditions as well. And then up in our region, kind of it's like a little battle zone of warm and wet, and with a storm track kind of near us. So again, storms can deviate, throughout the winter, but on average, if you took them all together, that's kind of what the path they would take. So if you look at our winter outlook that was issued by the Climate Prediction Center, again, you can see the tendency on the left map here, which is temperature. Again, above normal temperatures are favored across the southern United States and up the East Coast. Below normal temperatures are favored across the northern United States. And then on the right-hand image, you see the precipitation outlook, where again, above average precipitation across the northern United States, and then dry across the south. One thing that kind of is interesting to note is that parts of Ohio and Indiana kind of are more favored for above average precipitation this winter. Again, with a storm track heading to our west, that kind of puts us on the warm side of most of the systems, with snow on the backside, which really doesn't lead to a lot. One thing we'll have to watch out for is these temperatures. If they stay warm throughout the winter, lake effect could last longer. Usually it kind of shuts off at some point in January as the cold weather kind of entrenches and the lake ice is over. But if it's going to stay warm, then we could see lake effect snow showers for a longer duration of the winter time. And so that's kind of what we're looking at right now. And then, of course, the woolly bear forecast. So if you've been around, you might have seen these creatures kind of going around. I've always seen the one that I've seen up in Butler County, up at on some hikes, was the tough beginning. And of course, right now, so far so good. No tough beginning. Looking at talking to one of our climate folks, really no signs of any cold air or potential snow systems, maybe to the first or second week of December. So hopefully that forecast will hold if you don't like winter. If you do like winter, like Director Stutzman, then that's not good news for ski resorts that are planning to open in late November. And one of the things that was interesting last year is that, so Joel Landis, the director of Somerset County, and then John Frank, the director of Garrett County, kind of showed me these black woolly worms. And so that's not really captured on that previous slide. So when I was talking to Garrett County last year, they were like, well, we see a lot of these. What's that mean for winter? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know. And look at last winter, it was above normal, and we didn't have much snow. So they're seeing these again this year in the mountains of southwestern PA and western Maryland. So we'll see what the woolly worms prediction is and see if it holds to fruition what it did last year. So kind of in summary, new email format coming out for our products. Again, usually when we issue these emails are usually a heads up, 2 to 3 days out to give you preparation. Then as the headlines get issued, again, we'll issue the emails. There's a new weather story on our page. It's updated at least once daily. You can find that. Again, a new way to kind of quantify impact. So you want to say, okay, well, the Weather Service is forecasting 2 to 4 inches of snow. Is that going to be a big impact? This kind of puts all those things together that Jenna mentioned. It's a great way to kind of, bring things together into one graphic. And we've seen, several large private entities use that to make decisions on warehouse and distribution openings. And then the winter outlook, again, above average temperatures. Again, really no strong signals either way for precipitation. We're kind of on the edge of that above normal precipitation. So we're going to be watching that. Hopefully we don't have a wet winter like we did in 2018 and 2019, which led to a lot of record precipitation years. So again, dry conditions would be welcome. And then a couple of things that I don't have in here that I wanted to mention is if you have these bigger weather events, if you're hearing about big events on social media, Again, it's always that whole scares versus shares. Again, if you have questions, call our office, and again, we'll be more than happy to kind of tell you kind of what's going on. We don't really get excited about a 7-day snow event because a lot of those times those don't verify. But if you're hearing things, again, call our office. If you need webinars for elected officials, let me know. Because usually right now, to trigger a conference call, it's going to be a widespread, half 6 inches to 12-inch event. And you may have concerns about this event that maybe fall below that criteria and maybe want a weather briefing. So again, reach out to me and we'll try to get those scheduled to help you all out with your constituents and your counties or your agency. And then also lastly, if we have this frost-free survey that came out late last week, I'll include that in the write-up as well. So if you could forward that to your distribution folks to get input from the public on our frost freeze products, that's coming out from our National Weather Service headquarters. And I believe that's all I have. So I'm going to try to stop the recording here and open it up for questions. So if you have any questions, I believe everyone now is self-muted. So I'm going to run down this list here. So you can also use a question box as well to make sure that we get your questions answered. And I'll look at that here as I click through all the names here there's not a click all to make them all unmuted. Okay, any questions for us at the National Weather Service? Jenna, Alicia, any hydrology questions for them? No questions? We did a good job covering everything? Okay, well, I appreciate your time. And then look for this presentation and all the supplemental information in the email later today or tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Alicia and Jenna.